Get that guy a 5-hour energy. Let's go.
All right, here we go. Monday. New York City. What is up? Bill Ford Tubbs Studio, the Boomer NGO program. G is out one more day. We'll return tomorrow at Jets Camp when we head to Florham Park. But until 10 o'clock, you've got myself and the man, the myth, the legend, Boomer Esiason. Back from vacation, he's going to be shot out of a cannon. He's got a lot to get off his chest. We had a Craig Carton, Susan Waldman weekend at Yankee Stadium, which could not have started better with a rain-out Friday and the doubleheader on Saturday. We had a dud, and I mean a giant dud of a weekend from the Mets. We've got some football to get to and a whole lot more in you at 888-808-1019. It is good to see you back, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Jerry. It was a great trip out to Sand Valley, Wisconsin, a golf mecca, if you will, that is part of the Cabot family of golf courses, and it was a tremendous, tremendous trip, and I would recommend it to any golfer out there. It is reasonable, by the way. The prices there were very reasonable. I was shocked actually when we sat down to dinner and we had a few beers and you do the whole golfing man thing, and it was just it was an amazing trip. They have a golf course out there called the Lido. I'm actually wearing one of their pullovers right now, and the Lido is a recreation of the golf course, Lido Golf Course here in Long Island. That was basically commandeered by the Navy back in 1944, and it never came back. And they recreated this golf course in the middle of these Wisconsin sand dunes. And I have to say, it was one of the most enjoyable rounds of golf I have ever played in my life.
Nice.
And so they have, I think 5 golf courses out there, including a par 3
all in the one
course.
Complex?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, and I think they're building 7 more. It is amazing. And the accommodations were spectacular. I stayed in a golf villa with 3 other guys, and that was great. But they have all these individual golf villas and everything else out there. The food was wonderful. The people couldn't have been any nicer. It's Wisconsin people.
Yep.
They're going to be nice. And I have to a big thank you to Derek, the PGA Tour pro out there, who basically built the scoreboard for us. We were doing a Ryder Cup deal, and it couldn't have been any better. I couldn't have been any happier or more fulfilled.
What's the travel like getting out there?
Well, there's 2 ways. If you go private, you can whack it up 12 different ways, and you can fly to Alexander Field, which is about 10 to 18 miles away.
Right.
If you fly commercial, like a bunch of my friends did, they did fly into Milwaukee, and then it's about a 2-hour and 20-minute drive.
That's not terrible.
It's not terrible, and it's well worth it. The golf courses are tremendous. The whole, you can't believe that you're in the middle of Wisconsin, because we here don't think of Wisconsin like that. And I don't know what really we think. We think of Green Bay, I guess. I think we think of the Brewers, So it is just for all you golfers out there, if you can actually get a tee time there, good luck.
Is that something like a year in advance you're reserving this thing?
It is. Just like Bandon Dunes, same group. Yep. And Cabot up in Nova Scotia, and then they're also building a Cabot down in Florida. So it is. It was a tremendous golf trip, and what made it even better was I was Team USA, and Wally Zerbiak was Team Croatia, and we won 23-19.
Good for you.
And I got Wally Cash in my pocket.
It seems like that's a common theme, Wally Cash.
100% it is. But he was great, and all the guys we traveled with were fantastic. So it was just one of those great trips, and like I said, I would recommend it to anybody. And by the way, I'm on the road and I'm watching these Met and Yankee games, and the Mets have turned into the Mets of the early part of the season now. All of a sudden,
the Mets are a very bizarre team. I can't figure this team out.
They can't be good team, and we knew this was going to be a tough trip. We all said it was going to be a tough trip, and they split with Colorado. They hit home runs there. Everybody hits home runs there.
They had some clutch hits, too, in the finale. I mean, it wasn't all about the home runs.
But what we saw yesterday and what we saw this weekend against a really good team.
They were outscored 22-1.
They were overrun. They were just absolutely flattened.
Outmatched.
And I think when I watch them at this point now, and they're right in the middle of it. They could still be a part of it. They can be a part of the playoffs, which is a good thing. And I know that there are some fans out there that, feel that they should have sold as opposed to brought in guys.
They're
the guys that the guys that they've had haven't really done much. But the real issue for me anyway is while their bullpen is still not very good. I mean, Pete Alonso's losing money by the day.
We know.
And
he did have the one big day though. To be fair, in Colorado, and had the home run the Friday night in Anaheim. but you are correct in what you're saying.
He's just not coming up. Like, he has to carry this team. You know how Aaron Judge can carry a team? You know how Juan Soto can carry a team? Guys up in that stratosphere can carry teams. And I would say that Francisco Lindor has kind of been doing that for the Mets. He's had a tremendous season. But I don't know what's going on with Pete. And I was watching two different broadcasts last night. So I watched the MLB broadcast a little bit, which is just...
On ESPN, you mean?
No, there's the ESPN broadcast, and then there's the MLB Network broadcast.
Oh, was there?
They had both last night.
Okay.
So I was just going back and forth just to listen to what everybody is saying from a national perspective about the Mets, And I forget who the MLB guys are. First of all, it's almost unwatchable because of all the graphics and all the analytics, and the guys the ex-players that they have doing it are all about the analytics. They're all about the launch angles.
You sure you weren't watching the ESPN StatCast one?
Maybe that's what I was watching.
I think that's what you were watching.
Well, I don't.
And that's crazy. Yeah.
It is all over the place. But for those people who like that, I mean, I'm sure that was great for them. But I'm sitting there, I was confused. I was like, all right, he should. Like, they were talking about Francisco Lindor. All right, he's having a great year. But they were saying on that broadcast that because of his hard hit rate and this, that, and that rate and this, that, and the other thing, that he should be, even better than he is. And, he's been victimized by just hitting it at the wrong place.
A lot of hard hit outs.
Yeah.
Yes.
My head was spinning. So I had to turn it back to ESPN. And, and that's when Luis Severino decided to melt down.
Yeah, I didn't think he melted down. I thought the play by Lindor, which was a difficult play for sure, that could have ended the inning. It still would have been 1-0. You get the infield single as they rule it for a Rosarena, and then the next pitch you get the home run. I thought Severino was, you know what, you can't keep going up there throwing up zeros and having your offense do nothing. And the Rosarena play in left field
was a great play.
It was a great play and a big deal too.
They were lucky there was no injury there, but
then the bullpen just, I mean, my God.
But this is what. And when you look at the Mets schedule, and they were talking about this again last night, and they were doing like normally what I do. I look like 12 games ahead and say, okay, let me see, can we go 9-3? Can we go 8-4? What's it look like? They play down to teams. And now come the A's and the Marlins for 6, then the Orioles, then the Padres. They got to go back out west. They got to go play the Padres, Arizona, and Chicago White Sox.
These 6 games could sink their season.
Yeah, exactly.
And just from the standpoint of what you said, playing down, if they go, and I'm not saying they will, but if they went 2-4 in this stretch, we keep talking about the Braves, because the Padres right now and the Diamondbacks, if you look, are 3 and 4 games ahead of them now.
Yeah, I know.
Which is how well they're playing. And all we were talking about last week was this was me saying this is going to be a 2-team race for the third wild card with the Braves. And you look up now, the San Francisco Giants are right on their ass, and they are playing really, really well. And the Cardinals haven't exactly disappeared. And it's not like it's just a 2-team race anymore. You're going to have to fight with the Giants and the Braves for that one spot. And then when you look at the end of the month, you've got good teams coming in. You got to play Baltimore for one specifically, although they've been up and down. Still, though, with the best record in baseball, they have to take care of business in these next 6 games. And while I know the Mariners series was tough, this is why when I was with Joe last week and he was saying, it's going to be fine. They'll go 5-5 or 6-4. I'm like, well, you better win these games because Seattle's going to be difficult. And then you figure, all right, they get to where they took the last 2 in Colorado. They win 2 out of 3. You're like, just get 1 in Seattle. You go 5-5. Now you reset. And to get their doors blown off the way they did.
You know what? Their last 6 games of the regular season are Philadelphia and Atlanta.
That's true, sure.
Look, if the way that they're playing, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Well, listen,
they don't.
You're right, but there have been times where they've played like the best team in the National League.
There was a stretch there where they were, and
no doubt.
And now all of a sudden they have morphed back into this malaise, which is really disappointing. And there's the energy thing is not there, and I don't know if it's where's the energy with Iglesias? Where's the energy with Francisco Alvarez? Where are these guys? What are they doing?
You know what?
I mean, everybody looks at Pete Alonso, and rightfully so, because he's going to want a huge contract, and that's one of the reasons why Pete is getting so much criticism. Is because they offered him a contract. He said no. He's got Boris as an agent, and right now, I'd be hard pressed to say I wouldn't give him more than a year or 2.
Boomer, I'm with you. I got beat up last week when I said if I was the Mets, I'd offer him 20.
Who beat you up?
On people calling in about my idea would be at this point because of the way and his age.
Thought you got beat up outside.
No, nothing like that. I wasn't punched in the parking lot by the attendant or anything. Like the idea of like, what do you offer him? And then you're talking about the ESPN broadcast last night. You've got, Ravitch and Cohn and Eduardo Perez. I like listening to them.
They're fine, yeah.
But they're talking about Alonso and how teams are going to be lining up to give him this big contract. Who? The only team that comes to mind for me are the San Francisco Giants because they lost out on Judge and they've lost out on other guys too. Wound up with Snell on the cheap. He threw that no-hitter last week too when you were away, which was neat. But if you're a team right now, I know what Alonso has been. You always talk about this. What are you paying the player for? You're paying for projections on what they're going to do. Well, based on this season, what are you giving Pete Alonso? Because while I love the guy and I really would like to see him finish his career here, how could you possibly figure out a way to come up with more than what they offered him already based on this production? Because he can carry a team and he hasn't done it.
The moment that your age starts with a 3 is when you really got to start taking into account the future and injuries and whether or not that they can, continue what they have done in their 20s. This is why Juan Soto's so attractive, because he's still in his 20s. And Pete Alonso is having an off year. He has not been, you want to say he was clutch in a couple games on this road.
Couple games, little flashes.
Yeah, but he's got to be more than that. He's got to be so much more consistent. And, if you sat here and you told me, okay, he was batting 270 and he had 40 home runs and 80 RBIs, I'd say great. Too many strikeouts, too many big opportunities missed. And they were talking about it last night that there's something off about him, and maybe that was that StatCast broadcast I was watching because Coney and Eduardo Perez were not saying that. But
right.
I just, it is really, really, really tough to watch when they're losing like this, especially the way that they got drubbed over the weekend in Seattle.
There was nothing. Nothing offensively. You're trying to watch that game last night. It's like, we get some guys on base. They had the one inning where Torrens gets the base hit, Lindor gets the base hit, and then you had the Rosarena play. But other than that, there's a whole lot of nothing. And you talk about the energy. You know where energy comes from? Success. When you actually have guys on base and you're doing things, guys are into it, or at least it feels that way. When you are just throwing up 0 after 0 after 0, I mean, it's like it was death watching those games.
Jerry, winning is the deodorant of champions.
That will be April, I believe, in the calendar, which is done.
Good.
I like the Boomer Esiason quote, ready to rock.
I like it.
Winning is the deodorant of champions.
I liked your July quote on your calendar this year.
Which was what? Which was what?
It's the guest podcaster, I believe.
Yeah,
Mr. Lee about everybody's
That's
dying.
August. That's
right.
August.
No, I'm July.
Oh, you are July.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Long live America.
Long live America.
Long live America. That's
it, with a golf flag, I believe. That's exactly right.
Long live America, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Long live America.
All right,
that is right.
All right, so we got to get to this.
Well, so there's a lot more. So we don't have a lot of time. There's a lot to get to with Craig. I know where you want to go.
Yeah.
So how about we do this?
All right.
Because I think the right way, you got to give this more time than just 3 minutes.
We got to
take a break in a couple.
We got to give it some air, Jerry.
Let me preview it this way, and then we'll get to it. Because Minko's going to have, right, Mike? Minko's lining up these clips too.
I'm worried about this, by the way.
I want to play
he seems
one.
Nervous to me.
He is. I want to play.
Why is he so nervous?
Because he hasn't been here since the pandemic. He's been retired.
Is he afraid he's going to get sick?
No. I think he's afraid he's going to screw up because he doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
Oh, it'd be awesome if he screws up.
Well, we had enough of that with Peter Schwartz last week. So, Peter Schwartz is a bit of a mess. Yes.
Just non-professional or what?
Oh, no, I didn't say that. Eddie, how would you characterize the week with Peter?
The hot mess. It was a good way.
Hot mess? Okay.
A little bit, yes. A little bit of a hot mess.
All right.
Minko will be fine. So here's what I do. Eddie, can you go into this? Will set up, I think, more clips to come. Can you go into the WFAN only folder? And I think it's the
we have an OnlyFans folder?
We do. Not OnlyFans.
WFAN
No,
only. Different.
No,
similar,
different
but
If we had an OnlyFans photo, who would be in it? Nobody.
Of this group?
Keith McPherson and Tiki.
Yeah.
Those two guys.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Maybe Pat Boyle.
Pat Boyle, perhaps.
You know
a little
what?
thick.
Pat Boyle.
That's possible. Thick thighs.
As long as he doesn't open his mouth, he's fine.
So let me just set it up this way.
Okay.
What? As long as he doesn't open up his mouth.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good-looking guy.
Got it.
The moment he opens his mouth, it's like, oh, God.
The one with Jazz Chisholm, it's a minute long. This is how we're going to set up Minko after the break. So I think it was at this point I texted Craig. I'm going to read you what I texted him.
Oh, you were texting him during
the
game?
No, yeah, on Sunday. So I was outside listening at this point. I texted Craig, and I say, poop your nut. Craig Carton, here we go. All right. I texted Craig, she likes you. She actually likes you. Cannot believe it. You are something else. Ha well done this weekend. Listen to this. This exchange.
Now, this one is in the morning?
No, I said WFAN only.
Yes.
It's about a minute or so. It says Craig Jazz Chisholm. And this is where Craig said something prior in the game, previously in the game. You got it? All right, play this minute of Craig and Susan.
There you go.
So that was...
Yeah, that's Craig Carton right there in a nutshell.
You had everything. Yes, and that's why I picked that one out. I'm listening to it. You had the food in the booth.
Yep.
The halibut will be waiting for you. You got Susan scolding him, which was funny. And then you get the home run call 2 pitches later.
All right.
With a thank you by Susan. Let me ask you this. Was she already...
I don't know. So
is it a wireless with, and she's got
No, because he said she's going to head down for the player of the game.
Okay.
So she either did that or someone here had that ready, but I think that was her.
I agree.
But it sounded like a drop almost.
Here's the thing I will say. She's the ultimate professional.
She's phenomenal.
She's the ultimate professional. And the one thing, and I know we're going to talk about this after Minko comes in here, but the one thing I will say is that she talked more during these 3 games than she has in the previous games with the other announcers in the booth, including John.
Well, it is her booth.
Of course it is. And Craig showed great deference to her understanding of baseball, what goes on in baseball, why they do things, how do you know what pitch is being thrown.
For sure.
And she was explaining it to him, which was actually kind of funny because those are things that I think most announcers just take for granted.
I enjoyed the one exchange. Maybe Mink will have it. If not, we'll play it later. The one exchange where a guy got thrown out trying to stretch a single into a double.
Oh, yeah.
And Craig's like, shouldn't be a base hit. And she basically put him right in his place.
But
why not? You can't go to second until you get to first.
All right, so I heard that too. And when I'm thinking about in this is him arguing with me when we had our softball game.
I know.
And he got thrown out at third, but he wanted credit for a double.
But now he doesn't want
it. Now he doesn't want it. He wants the other way. Yes. So
it was funny.
For us, the people that know him and know we had a little bit of the Cartonisms in there.
Yeah.
But he played it straight.
I thought it was a good balance.
And he tried his damnedest. And there are good people out there I know that don't like it. You know what? You got to get over yourself. And you just got to recognize he did it for 3 games. He's not trying to become the voice of the Yankees.
Agreed.
That's not his job.
I thought it was a different way to listen to a game.
It was
a
different
fun
way. It was in the middle of August, and it was against the Rangers, and there was a lot of action. And Susan was an incredible professional, allowing him to do this. And then the byplay between the two of them I thought, was good. It was funny, and it was entertaining.
How about the fact that he had to do 2 games in a row on one day?
That's unbelievable.
The only thing that would have made it better was if we
we
got the day-night doubleheader to where he would have had to have filled in between for 2 hours. Instead, they got the straight doubleheader, which was good enough, and he didn't leave, and she even said at the beginning, because, this ain't a roller coaster. You can't get off at some stop if you had enough.
I think overall for Craig, knowing him, that would be a monotonous job.
Oh, there's no way.
There's no way that he could do that for the entire.
Even as they signed off, and he's like, "All right, well, Susan. Oh, actually, she's on her way to the plane. They got to go right to Chicago now. You don't get to go home and just have a beer.
That's not him.
Yeah, very difficult.
I mean, if they said, hey, if Olivero said, hey, we're going to use him for maybe 6 home games next year or something, I could see that.
Well, that's fine.
That's fine.
162 games.
Just so Yankee
chance.
Fans out there understand, he doesn't want to be the voice of the Yankees.
No, he's got a TV job every morning. He's good.
It was good. No, it was.
It was. You know what? It was a nice change of pace.
Hey, for those of us who know him,
it was fun.
It was funny.
It was fun. It was fun. I don't know if I could listen to it 162 times, but it was perfect for a weekend like that.
I thought he did a great job, actually.
It was very well done.
And she did a great job.
6:20 on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. We'll take a break. When we come in, it is the return of the Mink Man. We will see if he is a hot mess.
Better not be sweating.
Or if he is. Well, it's nice to see him, though. He looks good. So we will have Minko coming up next. We'll have your calls, too, at some point, 888-808-1019. Michael Rubin will be coming in at 7 o'clock, too. We got Fanatics Fest coming up this weekend. The Fan's going to have a big presence there. So all that and more on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. Don't go away.